So you said something needs to be done. One of the two shooters was born here in the United States, raised here in the United States, believe was radicalized here in the United States.
Right.
So then how would
wherever,
you, but how would you
wherever.
stop that then? Because you're talking about immigration.
Well, she came in. She came in and probably radicalized him. She came in. She went to a school. People that knew her said she was very radical. And she came in, okay? It's a problem. It's a problem.
But even without the help of a woman to come in, there are people who have been born here and who have been radicalized.
You have groups, cells, call them whatever you want, like her and her husband, all over the place. But here's the problem. You had many people that knew what was happening. You had the parents, you had the mother. The mother had guns in her car. You had the mother looking at the pipe bombs all over the apartment. You had the person that said it was politically correct, or what was the expression they used? Profiling.
They didn't want to report, right, because they were afraid.
You know what happened? They said, "Why didn't you see this?" And they said, "Oh, we did see it, but it was profiling." They knew. That was nonsense. That was an excuse that they made because they obviously saw what was happening. You had the person that bought the guns for him. You had all these people knowing about it, and then you had many more that you're not even talking about. Why didn't they turn them in? They should have turned them in.
Where does it
And they knew what was going to happen.
Where are the parameters, though, Mr. Trump? Where are the foreign leaders? What about foreign leaders who are Muslim, from Muslim countries?
You don't have
Diplomats?
a lot of foreign leaders that want to bring up the subject. And that's why I'm getting so much credit, because I'm willing to bring up a subject that nobody else wants to bring up. And you know why, Don? Because I am self-funding my own campaign. I have no people giving me money. I don't need anybody's money. I have no people in terms of special interest donors, any of this. I have none of them.
I want to talk about the funding of your campaign, but let's stick to this, because what I mean is, what about foreign diplomats or people from Muslim countries who are coming into the country? Who
Certainly
must do business in
exceptions
this
can be
country?
made. I mean, we're not going to say you can't come into the country. And the one thing people didn't pick up, at the end of that sentence, it said, until we get our hands around it, essentially, until we find out what the hell is going on, which is the expression I used. Now, that could go quickly, but you know what? It's a subject that has to be discussed.
So you said there will be exceptions, even for like international athletes in competitions.
Of course, there will be exceptions. You can't
Okay.
keep people out like that. But
Okay.
there will certainly be exceptions made.
So you have been saying that until we figure out what's going on. What exactly does that mean? Figure out what? What is there to figure out?
Why is there such hatred and such viciousness? Why is somebody willing to fly airplanes into the World Trade Center and go after it even prior to that? They failed, although they did tremendous damage by any normal standard. And then after they failed, they went and they actually took airplanes into the World Trade Center. Where does this hatred come from? Why does it come? We have to figure it out, because we have problems. So when you surveil the mosques, I took a lot of heat for the surveillance of the mosques. Well, now other people are saying, well, we have to surveil the mosques. I took heat for, we have to study things. Nobody's taking the heat like me. I don't care. I don't care, because what I'm saying is right. And you know what? You know it's right, and everybody knows it's right. And you know who really knows it right? It is the public. The public knows it's right. We have to find out, Don, where does this hatred come from? But it seems to be one group. I mean, the people that flew the planes into the World Trade and many other things, not only in this country, but in many other countries. You look at what's going on all over the world. We have to find out why and where is it coming from.
So how would you do it? How would, to be practical, how would you put this policy into action? What do? Ask someone coming over on an airplane?
Not ask.
Don't you think they would just lie?
They do that. You have to go through a series of questions. You have to go through a series of, you need paperwork. You have to find out where these people are coming from. But we can't allow radical killers into this country. We can't do it. We have enough problems. We have 19 trillion. It's going to be $21 trillion very soon. We have jobs that are being stolen from us by China, by Japan, by everybody. We cannot continue to allow this to happen to our country. We're not going to have a country soon. We have people pouring across the borders that we have no idea who they are. When I brought up the Mexican situation, I brought up basically illegal immigration. I'm telling you, it was a lot tougher than this. And within 4 weeks, you know better than I do, Everybody was saying Trump is right. Then you had the killing of Kate in San Francisco. You had the killing of Jamil. You had the wonderful woman, a veteran, 66 years
You're
old, who
talking
was
about
raped
Mexican
and
immigrants,
killed.
right?
I'm talking about the
Yeah.
Well, you know, I think the reason that so many people rate me so highly on security is because I started with the border, and everybody said I was wrong. Now they all say I'm right. Had I not brought up border security and illegal immigration at my opening remarks when I announced in this building that I'm running for president, you wouldn't even be talking about it, Tom.
So people would say, okay, so first they came for the Jews, and then when they came for me, there was no one to. You know that old saying. So where does
it's
it
words.
end?
It's words. It's just words. Yeah, you hear the saying, and I've read the statement. It's words. We have a problem. We have people that would rather fly an airplane into a building than live out their life.
Yeah.
We have to find out why.
So you mentioned
We can't have it anymore. We have people that want to destroy our cities.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to do one building, they want to do all the buildings. We have to find out why. We can't be politically correct, stupid people. We have a president, I swear, I think he's a stupid person because there's no way that a normal president can make the speech that he made the other night. At the end of the speech, I actually tweeted out, at Real Donald Trump, but I actually tweeted out, is that all there is? Is that all there is?
What were you
He didn't
expecting?
say anything.
What would you have
Well,
said?
I would have expected a little more vim and vigor, and we're going to. I mean, it was like just another day at the
But don't
office.
you think the president is damned if he does, damned if he doesn't?
No,
And you don't,
no.
do you,
He's
you
gotta
don't know
get
what
rid
it's
of
like to
ISIS.
sit in that
No.
seat. You
He's
don't
got to
sit
get
there.
rid of ISIS. Look, when he sends 50 soldiers into harm's way, he shouldn't be announcing it because they all have targets right on their back, right on their heart. They have a target. Why does he have to announce it? Do you think that great General Douglas MacArthur or General Patton would announce, by the way, we're sending 50 of our best people over to Iraq or Syria or wherever they go? Because as soon as they leave, they have targets on their back. You don't talk about it. Yeah. And one of the things, frankly, I don't like talking about it. Because if I win, I have a good chance. If I win, I want to be unpredictable. I don't want the enemy to know. I have been saying hit the oil for 3 years, including on your program, if you look back. They said no, no, no. Now everybody agrees with me, hit the oil.